get rolling here very shortly.
So we've got a myriad of cars here, correct? We have the Pragas, we have the Radicals, and then we have multiple flavors of Radicals. Is that correct?
That is correct. So we have the Praga R1 that you see Jack Ram and Shane Anderson. Looks like they're up front from their lap times. Those are very expensive fast race cars. Essentially, it's like a formula car with fenders.
Yep.
Then we have all the Radicals. With the Radicals, we have the Radical SR3, the Radical SR1s. Those are the two primary models that we have in this series.
What's the difference between the SR3 and the SR1?
The SR3 is going to be more of it's really the most popular model, I would say, here in the States, in Radical Cup, which is the main series here. The differences are the SR3's got a little bit more grip with the bigger tires, bigger brakes. It's more aero on the body, whereas the SR1 is the entry-level model. So it's going to have a little less horsepower, roughly 20 to 30 horsepower less than the SR3.
What kind of power plants and transmissions do these run?
They all use Suzuki Hayabusa bike motors. And so then Radical take the motors from Suzuki and they kind of rebuild them to make them work into a race car. And obviously they sound great, they run great, they rev high, and
what's
fantastic.
the rebuild time on hours-wise on one of those motors?
So on the Radicals, normally it's going to be a 40-hour rebuild interval. However, we've seen a lot more hours out of cars. It all depends on your use case. If you're just looking for a really good track day car and you're driving it several times a year, you can get a lot of time before you even need to worry about a rebuild. But we've had some motors that have well excelled over 150 hours before needing a rebuild. You know, we do the general maintenance. We do what needs to be done, and the motors feel fine and everything else, and they're very good motors. So that 40 hours really for people wanting to do Radical Cup and wanting to push the cars to the absolute limit. It's essentially a season on that motor.
What kind of RPM are they turning?
They're turned right around 10,000.
Wow.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
So they're screaming, that's for sure. All right, and here we are coming out of the turn 14 through 16 complex, and we're about to go green. The pace car is off. They're going to get graded up here, and let's see what happens. Looks like we have Jack Rambo up there up front, which he's a familiar face and familiar man here at AMP, and they're starting to goose it up a little bit. And here we go. Green, green, green.
Turn one, everybody looks pretty
Getting
calm.
it together, that's right.
As I say that as I go three wide. Was that Shane Anderson pushed
Yeah, it
out?
looks like Shane lost the most on that start. He started P2 and got pushed back. He's falling way back right now. I don't know if something's wrong with this car or what, but
maybe a little pickup on the tires after the little
I don't know. I don't know, but Chris Hune and David Mason are pushing well right now in second and third. Everybody filing into turn 6. That's one of the hardest corners on this track. It's such a tricky corner because you're driving up a hill, you gain a lot of front grip, and then it crowns off, and it's very easy to loop the back end.
Absolutely it is. I've done it in my BMW here before.
It seems like a great passing zone, though.
Turn 6 is the most
Absolutely.
popular.
You can definitely pass under braking into turn 6. Lots of fun.
And the leader's checked out.
Sure, Heather, looks like Jack Rambo is just completely checked out, which isn't surprising. But I guess in his class, the number 2, his name's Shane, and he is back with the Radicals. Maybe something wrong with his car, or he's taking it easy on cold tires. No telling. Let's see how this works out.
Really good fight right now for P1 in class for the SR3s with Chris Hune and David Mason. Curious to see what happens when they come out of turn 1. Who ends up getting that spot? There's Jack Rambo coming through, and it looks like David Mason did make the pass. Good for him. So David Mason, something about him, he's gone through the racing school. He's gone through all of our ranks and our ladder system. He bought an SR3XX last year, and now the brand new model is the XXR. And so look at this. Great battle between the two of these guys.
Yep.
So both of these, this is the SR3XX versus the XXR. It's the same car, but same motor. They're both in the 1500cc motors, so I'm really happy to see David really fighting hard with Chris right now.
Was that just an evolution of the...
Essentially, it's just the newer generation model. Yep.
So which one would have the advantage, the newer one?
Well, the new one's got a newer motor. It's got the new Generation 5 Hayabusa motor, and so they've got some more updates. It's got some different aero tweaks but everything else, it's about 90% of the same. It's the big difference is the motor. It's drive-by-wire now. It's got some more tricks up its sleeve.
Yeah.
So.
And there goes Jack Rambo in first place there in the Praga R1. And he's set, of course, the fastest lap out of everybody. He's going to probably remain purple the whole time, I would think. Now, funny thing about the Hayabusa engine and Suzuki is the consortium of motorcycle producers, when the Hayabusa came out, had agreed to limit street motorcycles to 180 miles an hour. And they subsequently violated that. So the Hayabusa was legendary. It was very, very popular, incredibly powerful bike. I owned 2 of them. And, you know, they scared me. Actually, the Hayabusa was what stopped me from riding motorcycles anymore. I just, you know, when you can't handle falling off of them, get off of them.
Yeah. It's such a versatile motor. They're bulletproof.
They are.
They're fantastic. And,
Yeah.
I mean, you can see how much power some of the guys are getting out of the drag bikes.
Right.
And it's just, it's very impressive. It's a great motor because it gives you the almost exotic feel in a race car just from the sounds. And they're just so fun to use.
Yeah, and it's not surprising they're using these in the Radicals at all. They get modified for drag racing and for this with very little modifications to the bottom end of the engine. A lot like a Duramax diesel. It's really amazing to see what these things can handle as far as power is concerned. Now, rods and cranks and things like that, those things get modified, but the basic block, you don't see these guys go into these custom billet blocks and things like that. They're required in drag racing to run a factory block, so really neat to see that. These things really get hammered hard in a much heavier vehicle than a motorcycle, so it just really proves the durability.
Well, we see all of the SR1s right here, and the SR1s are great because they use the 1340cc Busa, and it's pretty much stock internals. So it's not until you jump up to the 1500cc motor like the SR3 where you're going to have more, you know, go fast parts, I would say, inside where they bore it out and do some more stuff to the motor.
So you said the SR1 is basically a stock Hayabusa motor?
Pretty much, yeah, very mostly with stock internals. Yep.
Well, as we say, there's no replacement for displacement.
That's right. It's great watching the SR1s race, though, because they're always so tightly knitted together in these races. And it's just, we're seeing them all come through turn 10 right now and then diving down into the big compression at turn 11. That's my favorite section of the track.
Yeah.
I love the elevation.
Yeah, the elevation, and let me tell you, we do this in karting 3 times a year, and that from turn 6, pretty much the rest of the way on the track is run wide open in our LO206 class. And when we hit that bottom section there, the pounding that the chassis takes is really
I can imagine.
Amazing. Yeah.
Well, in an LO206 out here, you're getting to the apex, you're at the apex, you're in the apex, you're coming out of the apex, and then you're on to the next corner.
That's right.
It's a long lap in an LO206.
It sure is.
My back hurts already just thinking about that one.
It's a lot of fun, though.
Well, we have
Great
Rambo
camera
still in
shot.
the lead, and looks like Chris is holding station there. And they're all running similar lap time.
So there's William Layton. He's got that bright orange helmet. You can't miss it. You can see that thing from space. He's got a little Halloween sign on it. Looks like a big pumpkin. He's having a good time. He's always a regular out here racing the SR1s.
So how much more power does the Praga have?
I like to, it's a running joke. I always like to increase the horsepower every month sometimes. So we're probably up to 800 horsepower at this point.
1,000?
Something like that, yeah. I started at 400 beginning of the season. I slowly inch it up every time, but.
It's like fishtails, right?
Exactly. It's roughly around, I believe, 450 is what Jack has. But we can joke and say he's got about 850.
So it looks like Shane is running exactly 2 seconds slower than Jack Rambo, but he has moved up now to 4th.
He is making some ground.
He's making up some ground here over the Radicals. And then Peter Baczynski in the Praga R1 is about 5 seconds behind Jack Rambo, the leader. So he is out there. He's going to keep on pushing it. Is he a seasoned driver as well, or is this a new car for him, or what? Peter.
Yep. So Peter actually, he has not come through our school or anything. I've never really got to know him. He's one of the few I've not not gotten to know in this field or coached or anything like that, but he obviously purchased a Praga, and he's kind of a part of their little group of owners, and
Right.
He's out here,
Love
for
the
all
fact
the race
he's out
days.
here. Just
Yes.
keep your foot down and keep on learning. That's what I say.
That's it.
Seat time, seat time, seat time. And so Chris Hune here is running quite a bit faster than the number 2 position in the SR3 Radical group. And that's a significant piece right there. So they've managed to spread out a little bit here.
He's actually running faster than Shane and his product.
Right.
It's amazing what you can get out of the SR3s once you really learn to lean on them. They got a lot of performance there, which is awesome. That's why we like them a lot. But there's Jack driving through turn 2 into 3, up to 4, driving around that big water tower. It's a big double apex corner. Pretty tricky because you have a little banking, but then it flattens off. It's off camber, on camber.
Right.
And it can be just pretty tricky corners. So there he is working through turn 6.
Yeah, and turn 6 is one of the most challenging corners here, for sure. That's like turn 2 at the kart track, where races are won and lost there. It has a long-lasting effect coming out of turn 6. If you mess it up there, it lasts for a long time.
So here's David Mason, and there's Shane. You can just see Shane just surge right up to David. He just has all that extra power.
He's going to come in here for a pass under braking, and he's going to make it nice and clean there. They go through there clean. They're going to continue on down that. How big is the elevation change there? Is it 60 feet?
It's more than that. It's actually closer to 86 feet.
Wow.
So,
that's a huge elevation change.
When you're sitting in the race car and you're sitting inches off the ground, you notice it, but it's not, oh my goodness. But then when we do track walks in our racing school and we take students out and show them the track up close, every time I take them back there, they're all blown away. They're saying, oh my goodness.
Yeah,
I did not realize this is this steep.
Not quite the roller coaster that we have coming out of turn 1 into turn 2 at AMP's kart track, but nonetheless, a significant elevation change.
It feels pretty big on a street car.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
You feel it.
You feel that RPM all of a sudden surge up.
Yep. Trying to shift all that weight through the corner as well. You notice it for sure. So yeah, Shane's definitely had a good rebound in this race.
Yeah, and it looks like David Mason there missed the apex there in turn 1 and really had to slow down. So Shane is definitely making some progress here.
Chris Hune has been really consistent on this run.
He has been doing really, really well.
He's in the 20s, and he's been consistently there between 20.5, 4 I think was his best so far. And
I'm really happy with how David Mason's been doing. Again, that's a brand new car. He just purchased it. That's the very first SR3 XXR on site here.
Oh, nice.
So
this is his first race in that?
This is his first race. Wow. Yep. So he drove it for the first time last Tuesday. So he's had 2 days of testing in that car to get comfortable. So he's had his personal best in qualifying. He beat his personal best by I believe it was 4 seconds. So he's been really improving, and it's been great to see.
Did he have a Radical before?
He did. He has an XX, the previous generation. So he wanted the newest and best, and he wanted to also get the bigger motor. So
everybody wants the bigger motor.
They always want more power.
It looks like Rambo's running away with it. Unless he makes a mistake, we're going to...
Yeah, and looks like, looking back at the SR1s, we got a pretty close race. Pete Folger looks like he is controlling the lead right now in the SR1 class, but then it looks like Evan Lowry is not too far behind, so we'll see if Evan can do anything about that or kind of go from there.
Oh yeah, they're really close. They're within they're within 100th of a second of each other. Well, 2/10 now, as last time they came over the line there. That's great. So I'm taking it that Pete Folger and Greg Folger are related.
They are a father-son combo.
Oh, that's awesome.
My father never had the money to make me go racing. I wish I had that.
Yeah, I was very fortunate in the fact that my father encouraged karting. I've been karting since I was 8 years old, and it's blossomed into a lot of things for me, but not a professional motorsports career. I was in professionally for a little while, but it worked out, or it didn't work out.
I drove 8 years for free, so I figured that.
There you go. That's the way you got to make it out.
Yeah.
Bring money to the table. You drive for free.
So this is about the closest battle right here on the track.
Right.
We have Pete Folger in the front, and we have Evan Lowry chasing him through turn 11 right there. Obviously, these are both SR1s, 1340cc motors, roughly 180 horsepower, little 13-inch tires. This is the entry-level Radical you can get.
How much do they weigh?
1,000 pounds.
That's significant.
Yep, it's a big
I mean,
go-kart.
That is a fast car.
And what kind of tire life are we looking at?
So on the Hankooks, which is the standard, we can get a lot of heat cycles out. We've been able to get, 15 to 20 heat cycles.
Oh, wow.
You can get a lot of life out of them, and they're very nice because the fall-off is not aggressive. Some tires you race on, you'll notice the fall-off is very aggressive and very quick.
A lot of Michelins are that way.
Yep. Hoosiers are also
Hoosiers.
are also
notorious for it.
Right. Yeah.
You get 3/4 of the way through and they are done.
Yep.
Done.
I did some late model racing in my day in stock cars, so I know about the big Hoosiers and they can really fall away. But
my curse was the Toyos.
Yeah.
They'd be good for the first half of the race, and then the last half were horrible.
Yep. And you can also overheat the tires too. Certain tires you got to get them in a right window. If you keep them there, you can really maintain them. But sometimes if you overheat them too quickly, you're gonna burn them up. Yeah, it looks like Pete's maintaining that pace.
Yes.
Evan's trying to chase him, but he's not really able to gain too much ground.
And he's pushing it too.
He's pushing. You can see him sliding around a lot.
Yeah, especially going down there in, what is that, turn 8. You saw him run over the rumble strip and then way out to the rumble strip on the exit there. So that was, he was wiggling as he did that. So he's trying.
We got to give a shout out to our camera crew out here. They got all the shots.
They sure do. They always do such a great job. We are really pleased to have them on the site every race weekend, and it's very consistent. And so, hats off to our executive producer, Will Rigdon, and all the crew here that works so hard to make these wonderful shots possible.
Oh, yeah. Gilroy on the drone just...
I literally want to say we have one of the best drone pilots in the country doing this. I'm blown away by it.
Yeah. It enhances the whole experience, too.
Well, we wouldn't be able to announce it the way we do if we didn't have this type of coverage, because there's so many, blind spots here.
And
right?
hidden corners.
Yeah, even sitting in the tower way up here, 3 stories above us, you can't see the whole track.
It's so much better.
Yeah, it's great now that they've had the additional balcony because that allows people to see so much more of the front half of the track. But all of this going through turn 10 and up to 11, up to 12, you can't see that from the building.
No, not at all.
So seeing all this for the spectators and viewers online, it's such a unique track. And, the drone shots are incredible, but they also, it doesn't do the elevation justice.
No.
But it's still a great way to see the track.
What he does do at karting is he chases the karts. He flies about 5 feet above us, and he chases us up the hills, and you really can see the elevation change as he does that. It's a lot of fun.
It looks like, I believe it was Peter
Oh, we have a spinner. Spinner in turn 6 is claimed a victim here.
That would be Chris Hune.
That's Chris Hune. That's really unfortunate.
That might
Threw
be.
That away,
that's I'm trying to see.
He might have stalled there.
That is Greg Folger, I believe.
Oh, no, he's got it restarted.
That is Greg Folger, who had a little bit of a spin in turn 6. That's what I'm saying. It's a tough corner.
Yep.
He just had a little lift, and that was it. It went around.
Well, go ahead.
Well, he had a good gap, so it doesn't look like he lost much.
No. But, the thing is if you just take it slightly too tight and you run over that rumble strip, it unloads very quickly, and around you go. You go from that hard compression as you come down the hill to an off-camber right-hander, and you're trying to get on the throttle early. If you touch that curb, over you go. That's just the way it goes.
Car gets light at the top of the hill, right as you're trying to build in speed. Sounds like you've done this a couple times.
Yeah, I've made that mistake. I had an old sedan series Volvo at one point, and I went through that corner and ran way into the rumble strip, and it actually went up on 2 wheels.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it was.
It's always fun.
Yeah, it was a V70 sedan series. It was a really, really fun car to drive. That's for sure. I put an LS in it, so.
Oh, LS swap everything, right? You have to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything has an LS.
Yeah.
Except, LS Radical. I think that's the next step.
You might be able to cram one in there.
Yeah, probably could. I mean, they did in the Ariel Atom, and we are finished Jack Rambo, first place. That's a given. Jack's an excellent driver. Shane Anderson in second. Look at Shane actually ended up in front of all the others there, so he made up some time. Congratulations to Shane Anderson. Chris Hune is first place in the SR3 Radical. David Mason, second place SR3 Radical. Greg Folger, third place. So there's our podiums in SR3, and Pete Folger, Evan Lowry, and William Lighton in SR1 Radical. So congratulations to those drivers on the pre-final.
Awesome race. Really looking forward to the second race we have today. And, it's always great having good, clean racing out here.
Yep.
Everybody comes out. They're all looking to have a good time. That's most important. But it's hard racing, but it's also fair, good etiquette.
Yep, it sure is. And, where we're really going to see some close stuff wheel to wheel is going to be in our next series, which is the Miata and Spec E30. That's going to be the fun one. That's always the hair-raising four-wide going into turn one, and someone usually ends up being a victim at some point just because they overdrove the car.
All momentum-based racing.
It sure is. That's why we like to say, hey, if you're good at LO206, you're going to be good in the Miata because you understand the concept.
Well, we're missing somebody from the field today. I'm drawing a blank.
Raiden Nickel. Yep. He's actually over at Road Atlanta right now. He's testing a global MX-5 Cup car.
Yeah, well, he made the MX-5.
He was nominated for the MX-5 scholarship. That's right.
Yep.
Another mention is a guy who came up here through LO206, Antonio Abram. So Antonio did really, really well here, and he raced some nationals, and then he decided to go into Miata, and he's on the list too.
Yeah. Oh, really?
We got two A&P guys on the list for the scholarship.
Wish them the absolute best of luck. We hope, obviously, it's hard to come by opportunity, cutthroat sport, but we obviously hope the best for them. And,
absolutely.
Mazda has a great program when it comes to that. And,
they really do.
They
really try and seek out young drivers and help support them as best as they can.
Yep.
So, well, I've enjoyed being up in the booth with you guys.
Absolutely,
I'll be back for the next race.
Appreciate
awesome.
it. We'll see you.
I might pop in here if we interview one of the guys. I'm not sure, but yeah, great time. There's a cool view of the autocross course.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing all morning.
There you go.
Wasted a little time there. It's a tricky course, Will laid out, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's easy to get turned around on it. And we're coming up on our MX-5 Spec E30 class, and they're going to be gridding up soon, and we're going to look forward to seeing them go wheel to wheel in just a little while. So tune in again. Oh, ball and chain. That's his wife. I gotta answer this. Hello. This P. I got Will's phone. I'm using the grid. All right. He's out there somewhere. I think he's interviewing. Oh my gosh. Is that Rachel?
It should be our Pixie Ferry Car driver, or our Pixie Pace Car driver.
Oh, that is
Mr. Halloween costume.
Look at that. And there's Danny May. Say hey to Danny May. How you doing, buddy? It's always good to see you. You're always up here. Do you live here now? As you can see here, we have some of the cars already starting to grid up. And we're down on the podium there with Jack Rambo, first place. Congratulations, Jack.
I will. Thanks, Al. I'm down here with your race one winner, your overall winner, Jack Rambo, in that beautiful Prague R1. Jack, dominant performance. You've not your first time up here in first place. Take us through what was the keys to success.
Second time up here in first place. But anyway, The cold weather. And we had right tire combination. Cold weather helped us a lot, so it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Now, did you know Shane was catching back up to you there towards the end, or did you just?
I knew Shane would be coming after me sooner or later, and I think he got tied up in the first turn early on. But Shane's quick, Shane's fast, and I knew he was going to be on my tail sooner or later. So
you're gonna do it?
I had to keep pushing it.
You gonna do anything different for race 2?
I'd like to do the same thing all over again, quite frankly.
Well, hopefully I'll be up here interviewing you after race 2. Congratulations, Jack.
Appreciate it, buddy.
We look forward to watching you race 2.
Way to go, Jack Rambo.
All right, we'll see if we can get Chris over here real quick. Chris.
Is this Chris Hune?
Chris Hune, he was your winner in SR3, all the way from Champaign, Illinois, down here in Atlanta, Georgia, racing with us today. Chris, I know you're familiar with being up here as well. Take us through that race.
Well, awesome start. A lot of chaos there in the beginning, and I just tried to keep the gap going. It's obviously a great day for racing, nice and cool, good horsepower. And, I couldn't keep up with Jack, though. He was gone. Too much horsepower.
Yeah, we were watching you there in the booth, and we were hoping you could keep up, but it just, as the race was going on, is there anything you're going to do different going into race number 2?
Probably run the same thing, go hard, stay up front.
Well, awesome. That's what we like to hear. Congratulations on the win, and we look forward to seeing you race number 2.
Way to go,
Congratulations,
Chris.
And we're going to send it back to you, Al.
All right, thanks a lot. Again, we're going to be gridding up shortly for our exciting LO206 karting style in the MX-5 Miata and the Spec E30. And I saw a familiar name on here, Jeremy Buckingham. And Jeremy is an old friend. He's an old friend of the track, and he's been around here a long time. And I got some fun facts about Jeremy when we get going. There's 2 Spec E30s there. It looks like on the grid, and quite a number, a gaggle, I would say, of MX-5 Miatas.
I ended my road racing career in Spec Miata. I got to tell you, that was the most fun I've had.
They are stupid fun.
The grid is usually filled with high performers, and if you lift or make a mistake, you're 20 cars back in no time at all.
Freight training is the name of the game.
I mean, I had a Spec E30 bump draft me once down the straight at Road Atlanta. I was hitting the rev limiter. He was pushing me so hard, I couldn't believe it. Like, I don't think it could go that fast.
Right. Now, it looks like there's a screaming chicken on the front of that first one.
Yeah.
I don't know the driver. I know the car because I see it all the time, and it's really neat that
you got the Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah, there you go. And we could play some Jerry Reed. I was listening to Eastbound and Down on the way up here actually, because I love Jerry Reed. He was a great musician.
It was a riot too. The Miatas are going out for their warm-up lap. We got Blakely Fabiani on the pole with Keith Williamson in second, followed by Tyler Klein, Bill Miller, and Steve Tyner, Casey Clark. And then the Spec E30s, we have Greg Tresson and Jeremy Buckingham.
Now, Jeremy's quite an experienced driver. Jeremy's got just an entire career in racing. Really interesting guy to know, and tell you a little more about him. He's great at braking under and passing under braking. He's really good at that. He's a very talented driver, calm behind the wheel, nice demeanor. He's just an all-around nice guy.
I'm interested to see how the Spec E30s compare to the Miatas on this track.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch, that's for sure. And here we go, rounding through turn 8. I call it the pit. That's what I call turn 8, the pit.
Why is that?
Because it's in the pit of the track. I mean, you just absolutely drop down and, you hit that transition and you hit it hard. And when the track was in the early phases, they ended up having to shave it. Same thing with the kink over at the kart track. They shaved quite a bit of asphalt off to make it smoother.
Really? Huh?
Yeah. And let's see what happens here. It looks like we are all gridded up, ready to go. The pace car isn't going to pull off.
I believe so. It should be one pace lap in the Killboy.com Porsche there, driven by Rachel Heiler. And it looks like we got Blakely Fabiani in the rented ride right now alongside Keith Williamson. And they will take your grid to the green flag.
So Blakely's in a rent-a-ride, you said?
He's in his ride is under the weather right now, so he is borrowing Matt White's car.
And is that the
as the Ampere EV.
Is that why he's on the pole?
you see how the E30s are starting to hang back a little bit. That's going to be a 2-car race between the two of them. But and here we go. I hear them revving up. We going green, green, green.
Oh, they're already 3 wide.
And we're already 3 wide going into turn 1. Late braking. The E30s are right in the middle of the pack there.
Wow.
Flat spotting.
They definitely had to slow down
somebody's
almost
off.
to a stop.
Ooh.
And who is that that went off?
I think Tyler Klein took the lead from everybody.
He sure did.
He was in third, and he shot out way to the outside. And
Yep, and
Got some momentum, got around everybody.
is that Buckingham that came up?
Buckingham right there in the yellow car.
Yep.
And, again, he was super aggressive coming in there. There were 3 wide going through 1. He was on the inside and managed to stick it. We got another lock up there, a little flat spot on the tire there going into 6. But carries a little bit of momentum. It looked like he's going to make a challenge going into turn 7, going down the hill here. Let's see what happens between these 2 cars here.
And they go diving into turn 3 right now. Or turn 8.
Turn 8.
I'm back on kart track
The
numbers.
pit. Yeah, hello, McFly. Anybody home? And look at those E30s right in the middle of the mix there. Now, the E30s they're very similar to the MX-5 as far as power to weight ratio. So, and that's what I mean is power to weight ratio, not just power. They're a little more powerful, actually. But those are the old 3 Series. Just an incredible car. The E30 platform was great for a race car.
Yeah, it looks like Buckingham's going to get it.
Oh, look at Buckingham just coming at it.
Wow. Tyler Klein. That is a Buckingham. That's Tresson.
Oh, that is. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought Buckingham was in the yellow one.
So
but
did I. Forgive me.
So sorry about that, Greg. But that's Greg in first place with the Spec E30 class. And we have Tyler Klein first place in the Spec Miata class. Bill Miller is second in Spec Miata. And Blakely Fabiano in 30,
Yep.
in third.
He went from first to, I think, 6th or 7th and is fighting his way back.
Yep, he is. I mean, the starts in these things, you have to take some time to come back. That's just the reality of the low horsepower racing. And I only see NBs here. I don't see any NAs in this class right now. And now that E30 is out.
Is he up front?
No, he's not out in the front. There's got to be a silver Miata in front of him. There he is.
Okay.
Yeah, the silver Miata's pulling away.
Tyler Klein's taken off.
Yeah.
But, Tresson is about a second a lap or half a second a lap faster.
Yep. And it looks like Jeremy Buckingham's having some issues there. They're in the secondary pack, the last 3 there.
And that's always great when you get to see a Spec E30 running towards the top of the group. That's a class that has kind of shrunk over the years. We haven't seen too many of them out here this season. But great to see Greg Tresson right now leading that pack of Miatas coming through turn 16.
Sure is. I mean, it really is coming down to the fact that parts are hard to find for them. Very similar to Porsche 944s and racing them in the stock classes there in SCCA. They've kind of gone the way of the Dodo Bird, and they're very expensive to run because of the unavailability of parts. And that's just the way it is. They're going to be considered vintage fairly soon.
They are vintage.
Really.
I ran them in a Firehawk.
Oh, that old Firehawk series.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Tyler Klein still turning it on.
Yeah, we have a challenge here going into turn 6.
Fabiani's trying to make up on Miller.
You're going to give him a little tap from behind there.
They start working together, they could probably get by Tresson.
That's exactly right. They, just like in LO206, if these guys start drafting together, they really can make up some time. But it takes some coordination.
Keep using LO206.
Yep.
What are we talking about?
So LO206 is a karting class that I specialize in.
Right.
It teaches momentum. We're talking about a 9 horsepower Briggs & Stratton. Some people compare it to a lawnmower engine, but it's a race spec engine from Briggs, regulated series from Briggs. And these guys, when I say, if you do really well in the LO206 class, you're going to do well in Spec Miata or Spec E30 because it's all about momentum.
We have got a special guest in the booth with us here, guys. We have got Mr. David Mason and that beautiful brand new Radical SR3 that we just saw out on track. So we're going to talk to David real quick here. It was exciting to watch you out there, David. Brand new car. How many laps you got on it so far this week?
Probably about 40. We came up yesterday, did some testing, and of course the rain in the afternoon kind of ended the day. But we got about 4 sessions in, and really felt good. Had a good practice session, had a lot of fun, and fast car, love it.
I was out there talking to Chris after the interview because you came in second, and I said, hey, Chris, how was that trying to catch David on that race start? Because he said you just took off from him.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a dicey start, I tell you. Not a lot of room down there, but it all worked out, and I was able to pass Chris once. I think he overshot turn 1, but it didn't last long. He's got a lot more skill, a lot more experience than me, but it's sure fun racing with him.
So how does the new XXR compare to the old SR3?
It's first I bought the 1500 motor, so that's faster motor, but it's a lot more stable car.
Tresson looks like he took over from Tyler Klein.
He is driving that thing. Look at that.
Yeah, forget that. Right off the bumper there, and he had to back out of it.
But like you were saying, the XXR and the SR3, big difference?
Yeah, big difference. Much more stable car, drive-by-wire, so the throttle's more sensitive, so you know if you feel a spin, you can back off slightly and then get back in it, and so it's a lot more control with the throttle, a lot more aerodynamic, so it's a lot more fun to drive.
So take a look real quick at this E30 that they just started battling through turn 8, and how the E30 really shines the higher speeds. That Miata almost got by him coming out of turn 10 and 11. And then when they hit that last turn 16 corner, the E30 is way ahead. So the E30 seemed to have more top end, but not as much handling capability on the bottom end.
Look at this as a train
Yep,
form.
so right here. Going to go right by him.
Well, it looks like the E30 lost his transponder or something. We're not showing him up on the timing and scoring.
And, yeah, it's that number
That's
63
Greg
right
Tresson.
now.
Yeah, there he is.
And look at that.
Yeah, something's either wrong with
Something's
him.
wrong.
Yeah, he's got a problem there.
He just got passed by 3 people.
Exactly. He got freight trained on that one. And that might give Jeremy Buckingham a chance here. So Jeremy Buckingham might be able to come up on him because he has really slowed down. Maybe he has a tire going down or something like that.
Yeah, it looks like it. I'm Paddock next to Greg. He's got another E30 up in his stacker, so I think he's prepped today.
Yeah.
Now, here's something we're not used to seeing, and this is Keith Williamson all the way back in 4th place right now.
That's exactly right. I'm really used to seeing a screaming chicken.
I don't think we've seen him outside of the top 2 all season.
No.
He got shaken up in that first lap, Schmazel going into turn 1, and never really recovered.
First lap Schmazel.
That's your vocabulary word
is
for
that,
the day, Pete.
Is that Yiddish? Hey.
It's something.
I think it's a Yiddish word, Schmazel. I'll remember that one.
It may be, but that's what it was to me. Looking at that, those Spec E30s came from the back, and all of a sudden, then one was in second place.
Well, while we still got David up here in the booth, we got to let you go pretty soon. I know you got a race to get going here. Just real quick for the guys at home, where are you from, David?
I live outside of Nashville, Tennessee, about 30 miles outside of Nashville, in a town called Lebanon, Tennessee.
Lebanon.
Okay, so you've been coming in all season, right?
Yeah, I've raced every race. I raced a couple races last year. It was my first entry into racing, period. So it's been a lot of fun, learned a lot, and just having a ball here.
So
Well, that's awesome. You got any plans to go any other tracks?
I might next year go to some other tracks. Would like to run at least one of the Radical Cup races next year if I can figure out which one fits in my schedule. So maybe do that next year.
If I had to pick, probably VIR or Road Atlanta would be the fun ones to go do.
Yeah, that would be fun. Or
VIR.
even Barber. VIR would be the one.
Barber, VIR is number one. Road Atlanta is too, but the difference in VIR compared to what Road Atlanta is the resurfacing, a good driver at VIR can outduel a faster car with a poorer driver. So there's still driving there. And it's like take every corner of every track you've ever loved on TV or anywhere else.
VIR is there.
And it's all at VIR. It's a commitment track, but it rewards an aggressive driver, and it's very technical at the same time.
Yeah, that sounds fun. I watched Drayton race there this weekend or last week in the Miata, so that was fun to watch.
Oh, yeah. At the runoffs, it was awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, so maybe I'll do that one next year.
Let's do it. So I just heard what Will asking you, this is the first race car you've ever driven with a Radical?
Yes, that's
You've
correct.
never raced before?
Never raced before.
Track days or anything like that?
I've got a Corvette, and I've done some autocross events with the Corvette, but never wheel-to-wheel racing or high-speed racing like this.
So you went right into downforce.
Right into it.
Let's go for it. Congratulations.
Yeah,
man.
there's Keith Williamson right there beside
Great show
another car
today.
going for a pass there.
Looks like he's challenging
Yeah,
Bill Miller
he
right
sure
now.
is. Keith's not going to be held back, that's for sure. He's always going to keep on trying. He's a hard charger, that's for sure.
And this is for that final podium spot in race number 1.
Blakely had a good comeback, too. There he goes.
Sure did. Now, Tyler Klein is absolutely checked out. Blakely is 7.3 seconds behind him. Right now, there's about, in Spec E30, there's now 5 seconds between Greg and Jeremy.
Now, Blakely right now running almost a full second faster that last lap. So,
Yep.
Well, that was from Bill Miller. Well, he's still about a half second faster from Keith Williamson. So Keith's going to have to dig pretty hard here if he's going to try and gain some ground.
Now, yeah, Keith just ran his fastest lap. Not the fastest lap, but his fastest lap, as did Blakely.
But we have got 6 minutes to go in this 20-minute contest, so the time is winding down. And as we've seen before, sometimes it's a little too late.
Sure is.
But we've also seen some crazier things. If you've ever tuned into one of our kart track broadcasts, you know. And kind of action we don't normally see up here at the main track, although every now and then we do get surprised, and these guys will pull something incredible off. And I would expect nothing less from Keith Williamson. He is one of our strongest drivers on the grid right now, so expect him to make a hard charge for that lead in these final moments of this race.
Well, he's on the podium now.
Right now, he sure is. He's third place. He's moved up in front of Bill Miller, and he's gapped Bill Miller quite a bit. So he's really digging deep for it.
And one of the things that is different about the race series up here versus back at kart track, with what you're familiar with, Al, is back at kart track, they're scored based off how they finish the final race. Up here, you get points for both races.
For both races. Wow.
So
okay.
if you get a first and a second, you don't get full. It's 100 points for the first place and then 90 points for the second place.
Okay.
And then so your score for the day is 190.
Gotcha.
It almost looked like Miller let Keith by. I don't know if something happened.
Something's wrong.
It was a pretty easy pass.
Yeah, it was an easy pass, and now he's starting to gap him. So, conditions change on these cars over a 20-minute race. A lot can change.
Well, it looked like Bill's lost almost 2 seconds a
Yeah.
lap. So something might be wrong. I mean, maybe the car's got heat, and he's just saving it for race 2. Rather than fighting Keith, letting him get by, so
Right.
he can
Well, I think
potentially challenge for second.
Keith and Fabiani look like we're going to have a little
We
race
might have
here.
a battle here because we've only got a few minutes left, but still, we might have a battle here because he's really pushing the pedal down.
And that gap is slowly winding down right now.
Sure is.
This is like Williamson's secret move on this corner. He seems to always make up some time.
Yeah, he always makes up some time here coming through that turn 14 through 16 complex.
Yeah, the only person we're missing right now is Jose Garcia, because that's the trio we've been
Yeah,
watching all season.
I was actually hoping he'd be here because I kind of messed up last week. I announced that there was Brant Estes at the front. It was Jose Garcia the whole time, and me and Charles completely missed it. And I actually called him and apologized. I was like, man, I'm really sorry that we messed that one up, but it is what it is.
Do we have enough time? Can Williamson get Blakely?
Yeah, he shaved almost a second
Yeah.
off that gap last time.
He's going to catch him. I think he's going to catch him.
We only got 3 minutes left. Let's see it. What, we got 2 laps?
We are at 3 minutes to go, so we're probably going to see 3 laps because they'll throw the white flag at or before 20 minutes.
Yep.
I think Fabiani wants 2 laps.
Yes, it would be in his favor if he sees the white flag next time, but I don't think they're going to throw it.
Please, white flag. I've been there. I know that feeling.
But yeah, we're ticking off minute 36, minute 37 lap
Watch Williamson in this next complex. You would think that it'd be very hard to make up time.
But he is. Look at that right there.
Right?
Boom. That was 3 car lengths right there. Amazing.
Wait till you see the next
Yep,
next
and then he's going to
complex.
come through the turn 14 through 16
And
complex
he
here.
really makes up a lot of time.
Yeah, and that's where he does it. See how he swings out tight off the apex and then almost drives straight out to the outside and starts to get the slingshot maneuver going.
And that is one of those sections on track that if
Watch it right here. Watch how
Yep.
close he's going to
see
pull
how
up.
he's all the way on the inside, and then he's going to relax the steering wheel, and boom, he's going to drive almost a straight line. But see his exit is so much more aggressive there than the car in front of him. It's
Exactly.
so much more aggressive. He carries so much more speed.
look at that.
And look where he is on going to turn 1. A little bit of a lockup
Lock up
there.
Fabiani. Here
I
we
think
go.
Fabiani's just now seeing him in his rearview mirror,
Yep.
so it's starting to rattle his cage a little bit.
Yes, it is. Race the race in front of you, not the race behind you. That's what I always say.
It's hard to do, though, and it really
it
is.
really is.
But there is still a
Oh, look, he's
1
right back
second
up.
gap.
He's on top of him now.
Yep.
It's going to be a horse race. The white flag come out?
No, it did not.
Okay, so we're going to get a white flag on this one, and we might have a drag race to the finish, which is one of my favorite sayings.
I expect to see these guys side by side at the white flag.
Oh, this
yeah,
is exciting. This
the
is
gloves are going to come off.
Yeah, Williamson's just this is his part of the track where he really makes up the time.
sure does, and it's going to be amazing to see this finish. Almost to the point where I'm becoming a fan here, and it's getting really exciting watching this. This is the race to watch.
I like watching him coming through 13, 14, and 15.
Yep.
He just seems to
Right here, bam, he's through 8. And you see that? 3 cart lengths. I said cart lengths.
Well,
And
one
look-
of the things you got to love about these Miatas is the parity in the classes. So this is much closer racing, kind of like watching the LO race.
Correct.
And so I guess you were already saying that earlier.
Yep. And let me tell you, it's we'll see here. He's opened up a little bit of a gap, but I think
Watch.
watch what happens here when he comes off of turn 16.
This is Williamson's
If
secret
they can
weapon.
get that
Right,
camera
look at
shot.
that.
See, look at that. He's catching up right here. Watch what happens. See, look at his speed he's carrying. You watch going by the rumbles there.
There we go.
Yep. Just don't get too excited going into turn 1, trying that late break.
Head
you want to
up.
be consistent here. Right on top.
Well, that's something these two guys have been doing all season. That's why Blake's in the rental car right now, because they were getting into each other earlier this year. But I know Keith, in the back of his mind, he just wanted to reel him in and get some payback from earlier in this season.
That's right.
Because he had that unfortunate contact, I believe it was week 5 or week 6, that put Keith out of the race, and that was between him and Fabiani. I think Fabiani missed a shift, and Williamson just went right into the back of him.
Oh, no.
And Keith took most of the damage.
Now look at that late break right there. Williamson to the inside. Oh, right back now on the bumper of Blakely.
There we
We
go.
got half a lap.
We got half a lap left. The white flag's been out, and we are going to see a horse race to the finish here. Let's see what he can do if he can pick up a draft here. He's right on top of him, going through turn 7 and
he's
turn
setting
8
him up.
complex.
He's setting him
Absolutely
up.
setting him up for a draft and pass.
Yep. This is Williamson's area right here.
Oh,
Look at that, he goes way wider.
It's a special
Yep.
sauce.
And
There
look
we
at
go.
this right there. He's going to come right back up on his bumper,
We're gonna have
run
an
to the
over-under?
outside. No, there's going to be no over-under. I think it's going to be passing on the back stretch through the 16 complex. Here he comes.
Let's see, does he have the run? Is he going to be able to do it?
He's going to stay in that draft for a second. Let's see how much if he can get a little bit of more of a bump. He's coming up on his bumper.
he's sucking him
What's it
in.
going to be? It's going to be a
It's
draft
gonna be
to a pass on the inside. He's going to switch over to the outside. Let's see. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. And Williamson is elected just to stay behind, but then he breaks out. No go. But that was a valiant effort. Wow.
I would have hit him. A little bump.
Woo! Now Tyler Klein, fastest lap of.
Was he in an MX-5? Because look at that, 127
yeah.
on that last one. There is no way that
I
is
think
a legal Spec Miata.
Maybe
He's
not.
got to be in the open class.
He might be in the open class, but that's.
You know what? We'll go out there and find out. I'll go talk to him.
Yeah.
we'll
That's our
the,
job, Will.
We'll see if there's a LS swap in there.
Well, I got to tell you that I would have thought that Keith would have gave him a little help.
Yeah, maybe.
I would.
Remember me? There's our Days of Thunder reference there. Charles Edgerton. Look at this replay right here. He goes for the inside, then he gets the door slammed on him.
Wow,
that was exciting. Saw me get excited.
Make my way out to victory lane.
All right, enjoy yourself there, buddy. We've got some good stuff going on.
I want to hear this.
Look at that. Goes to the outside, inside, gets the door slammed on. And he couldn't do the crossover at that point. You saw that defensive drive. He moved his line over 3 times there. Blakely did. And, yeah, he probably would have, on a different type of race series, he most likely would have gotten a hard shot from back. You know, maybe even a looper.
You know, but watching it, that was exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Keep his line through that section of the track. I've been watching him all year as I've been announcing it. He comes alive.
Yeah.
That car just comes alive up there.
Yeah, he really has some top end.
Considering the elevation change and what's happening on the track itself, you know, the grade of the track to come up that hard is really something.
Yeah, it really is. Now, one of the things we talk about elevation change, we really don't talk about the turn 14 through 16 complex. It's actually mostly downhill until you hit turn 16 and you start going back uphill. But when you come over that really slow through turn 8, back up into turn 9, over to turn 10, you make that left-hander, there's an apogee there. And it's just like turn 6, as a matter of fact. You can unload that car if you hit that and you're going around or you're going to run wide. And that right there is when you slingshot off of that, you see Williamson go almost straight out to the rumble strip. And that's where you pick up a ton of momentum. And then he runs to the outside, slowly moves his way to the inside through turn 14 and 15, and then turn 16. You can just see the momentum that his car has. And the worst part about it, it's a black car, so those always look a little bit slower, right? Because of the color contrast. And so, but you could really see it.
I've been watching that all year, and that move that he makes there.
Yeah.
No one else is running that line, or certainly not pulling like he is coming up there.
Yeah, and so obviously he's done some data acquisition to see where his horsepower comes in, and where his torque curve is, because you know they seem to really nail that consistently.
Did I just see Will get in a car?
I don't know.
I think he did.
I think he might have gotten in a car there.
Yeah, I think he did.
And, of course, we are checking weight for the Spec Miata class here, because that's pretty critical. Now, one of the things about Miatas is that they're incredibly durable cars for the most part, but one of their weak points is certainly their transmissions. And, you know, cars are not really made to be driven 100% wide open all the time. The Miata is a little bit of an exception. It's almost like when they came out with it in 1980, well, it was late 88, the 89 model year, that they had really designed that thing to be a race car, similar to what the, MG did, because they actually copied the noise from an MG midget, I think it was.
And the top from a Fiat 124 Spider.
Right. And you know, it's an amazing story. The Miata. I personally have owned 12 of them.
I've had 6.
Yeah, and I had an Unos Roadster, so the 1993 1500 limited production worldwide, and I had number 1095, and that was a really fun car. It had the lightweight wheels. Remember the coveted wheels were those BBS wheels that were super, super light because they were made out of titanium. You know, but a lot of these guys, you know, again, it's Spec Miata, but they are allowed to run some different wheel and tire combinations as long as I believe it's from a Miata. You know, so there are certain ones that are really popular and certain ones that are just, they're so heavy. Tire and wheel on a Miata is so critical to the performance of these things. They're so well engineered that when you see these kids change them, the handling completely goes away on them. You know, they have a thing called a scrub center that they engineered to within, you know, like I think 10 millimeters, I believe it was. And so they have this really weird offset on their wheels. They have like a 45 millimeter offset, not a 38, which is typical on the aftermarket wheels and stuff like that. So really amazing car. Just love watching these things go around the track.
I ran them for 3 years, 4 years at the end of my career, and alignment, and they were very sensitive with the double wishbones all around. That you hit something, you had to align at every race. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. Same thing with the corner balance, and just a little bit here and there would make a huge difference.
Oh, absolutely, it would. Yeah. Really, again, an amazing race car, so much so that they survive. And they can sell, they've sold, I don't know what the number is, but at one point they sold like 300,000 of them in 2 years, with their eyes closed. Oh. And, the Motor Trend rated the Miata as the #1 sports car in the world in history. And the reason why is because there was only one other car that was anything like it that came out that year. And it inspired the Porsche Boxster, it inspired the Honda S2000, it inspired a lot of manufacturers to come up with a lightweight sports car. But these have stood the test of time. I mean, none of these others are made anymore. And so it really is, well, the Boxster is, but the Boxster is a completely different animal now than it was.
It was a different animal then, too.
Yeah.
It was a much faster car.
Yeah.
Lap time-wise, like at Road Atlanta bone stock, it would destroy a Miata.
Yeah.
But the back to the popularity of Miatas, I think is well-founded. But you mentioned the transmission issues. I went through a number of I lost my championship due to a transmission.
Yeah.
Blew a rear end, too. But
yeah.
It was a Mazda support was just fantastic.
Yeah, they're a great company. They're dedicated to racing. They've been in all the ranks of racing. I mean, the GTP way back in the day. I actually took a photo at Road Atlanta of that old GTP car. This was in 1992, I think it was, and they turned it into a poster where Mazda, it just feels right. Remember that old slogan that they had? And it was a picture of them coming into turn 5 under braking with the flames spitting out. If you remember that advertisement they had, it was a still photo, and it was the photo that I took, and it was really, really neat. Their commitment. And that car is actually Jim Downing has one, and he's been making the rounds with it, on the historic circuits. So and it's so unique sounding. I don't know if you've ever heard that thing up close, but it's an amazing car. And we're getting ready here, folks, for our final. This is our final for the downforce class. And there are the Praga R1s. And a little thing about Praga, Praga is part of the IPK group. And they have a race car division. They have a karting division. They have an aviation division. They make a lot of stuff. And we were at AMP, we were a Praga dealer or an importer for a number of years. We still have a ton of Pragas out on the and winning races on the grid in karting, and here we have Pragas now. So the Pragas had a long legacy here at AMP.
They've been around a very, very long time as a company.
Yep.
I mean, it goes back a century, really. I mean, from everything they've been doing.
They're a lot like TRW. They've made everything over the years.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize, they make small aircraft and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're a competitor to the Honda Jet and the small Citation Mustang, and a number of things like that.
Have to have some money for stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, they say racing is expensive. Aviation is really expensive.
Well, cars are rolling on to the track.
Now, are we going to do 2 out laps again?
Yes. Yes, we'll do two out laps and just let the drivers just make sure they got everything they need. Not a cloud in the sky. Beautiful track here. I mean, can't have much worse of a Saturday.
No. It's almost a perfect temperature, just stunningly beautiful. The only thing that would make it better would be if all the leaves were in peak season at this point, but that's just starting now.
Yep. Yeah, we just had that cold front kind of come through this last night.
Just last night.
And it's everybody woke up this morning kind of like, oh, I forgot my jacket. Like it's colder than I thought.
Yeah. All right, so in first place on the Praga R1s, we have, of course, Jack Rambo. Shane Anderson is second. Don't we have another Praga out there?
Well, yeah, we have Baczynski, but
Baczynski.
he is in the back, so he is not shown up, you know,
Right.
within the top 10. So he's in the back of the field. He pulled off. I'm not sure if he had some kind of a mechanical issue of some kind.
He's
Okay.
been fighting those gremlins all season. He's been with us most of the season. And real quick, while we're talking about Shane Anderson, he's the reason we got the Pragas out here. He is the dealer right now, and he managed to get 4 of those new cars sold to members. And then plus we added Peter. And so we've had 5 of them running with us all season. It's been awesome to watch.
Well, Shane had a really exciting turn 1 experience a few races ago. He had a brake issues or something like
Probably
that.
the highlight of the season.
It was the highlight of the season. He slid sideways, and luckily some folks were looking in that left mirror like you should do every time you're under braking, looking for that guy dive bombing you on the inside. And he turned in, but he turned in late. And he just sailed right by him, and they missed each other, it looked like by inches.
Yeah, it's just a mistake, you know.
Yeah.
It happens as part of it. He was pushing really, really hard, but he was trying to make a lot out of nothing. And, you know, I know that he learned that. He just locked up the brakes, and thankfully, like you said, everybody else had really good heads-up driving, and we're paying attention because that could have been a big one.
Yeah, it really, it really could have been a big one.
Yep.
So are we back to 2 laps?
2 laps out.
Yep, we are 1 to green this time by, so we are coming to the green flag this next time.
Now let's see what happens here on the start. We would love to see Shane Anderson give Jack Rambo a run for his money. Hopefully he may have made some changes while we watch the other classes out here. And then we have Chris Hune in the SR3 in first place. David Mason starting in second place. Greg Folger third in SR1. And Pete Folger, in SR3. And then we have Pete Folger in SR1 in first place.
Yep. Easy to get them mixed up, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I see Folger, and the sun's shining in here a little bit, and, you know, excuses, I know.
Yeah, I'm hoping Shane can have a better start, you know, this race than last race, because if you remember, he got pushed wide at
Sure
coming out of
did.
turn 1, and he lost about 4 or 5 spots.
Yep.
So he had to really put in a lot of work to make that ground back. So we'll see if he can get a decent start this time and try and hold it coming out of turn 1. But don't count out Chris Hune. Chris Hune's going to make a run. He's going to get what he can.
Well, absolutely. Racing is racing. And we're going to start gridding up here.
Yep, everybody's going to be cycling into their grid spots, and hopefully everybody tightens it up.
Tightens it up, otherwise Rachel might not pull off. They might have to run another lap.
There we go. Everybody's starting
Yep.
to get in line. There we go.
All right, the pace car is pulled off. We are going to go green if everything looks great. And we hear them start thundering down. We just barely hear them here. And let's see. Here we go. Green, green, green. Oh, we got. Oh, it looks like Shane locked it up and came to a complete stop there.
He might have had a little help. I don't know.
Yeah. It almost looked like the door came open.
Huge, huge lockup.
Yeah. He just locked up and came to a stop. All right, so we have Jack Rambo, it looks like, out in first place.
Yep, and we are still racing. We are still in the
racing.
green. We are going to see if they're going to have to go full course caution or not. I don't know if Shane's going to be able to get that thing going. He's still sitting over in
Still
turn
sitting there,
1.
so
Yep, he's still there.
we might pull a full course caution, but
Good heads up driving from everybody. It
Sure
looks like
was.
Chris Hune also had a lockup because, you know, it's a chain reaction. You see one
Sure
person
is.
lock up, you see smoke, you freak out, you hit the brakes hard, and it's easy to do the same thing. But everybody else safely made it through, and here he is. He's
here he
backing
is.
up. Looks like, you know, from here can't really see any damage of any kind, but let's
I
see.
don't even see a local yellow at this point.
Well, at least he's moving now, so
Yep.
we should be able to keep this thing green. But you know he's going to have quite a vibration from having a flat spot on those tires. I am sure.
yeah, because he didn't just lock up the right front. He locked all 4 of them up.
Rambo's down to 122, but Chris Hoon isn't that far behind. They have a 2-horse race here.
Okay, Jack Rambo, of course, has run the fastest lap of the race so far. He's probably going to remain purple the whole time. Chris Hune still in first place of the SR3 class. We've got David Mason behind Evan Lowry of the SR1 class. So they're starting to mix it up a little bit here, and it looks like Jack Rambo and Chris Hune have pulled away. So they're not really together, but Chris Hune has got a significant lead over everybody else. So it's, as you said, it's a two-horse race, and it looks like between an SR3 and an SR1 right now, going down into the turn 7-8 complex.
I'm most impressed by Evan Lowry right now. I mean, for him to take advantage of that start and make some spots up and jump, I mean, he was not waiting about. He was taking his, other people have mistakes. You got to capitalize when other people have mistakes, and that's what he did, and he's currently sitting in P3 overall in an SR1. So
right.
I'm sure, David's going to wait for his moment and get by him just with the extra power and grip that he has.
Yeah, you saw him climb up on him there,
and
he backed off.
So it looks like Shane has entered into the pits. I'm sure he had a pretty nasty flat spot on his car. So, man, I hate it for Shane. That's unfortunate, but that's why we give him 2
We're going 3 wide in the turn 1 here. Good braking there. A little bit of a lock up there, and that was a Praga that locked up.
That was David Mason to the inside.
Yep, that was good.
Good, clean racing. There's Evan Lowry in that yellow striped Radical SR1, followed by Peter.
And they're coming through our carousel here, diving down into turn 6.
It's pretty funny seeing Evan in front in that little 180 horsepower car.
That is funny.
It's he's going defensive in turn 6.
Yeah,
and we'll see if Peter right here should just rocket by him.
He
honestly.
should.
There he goes.
Start racing with his elbows out a little bit.
You got to. Fair play. Quite an interesting start, though, I must say.
Yeah, that definitely was. At least everybody made it through except for Shane. We were sad for Shane there. We were expecting to see a nice run after Jack Rambo there.
That is why we have 2 outlaps.
Right.
We allow those drivers to try and generate heat in their brakes and tires, and sometimes you might be pushing harder than you think, and the one thing you don't want to do is go into turn 1 with cold equipment.
Yep.
That is not ideal.
The old saying, you can't win on the first lap, but you can certainly lose.
Yep.
Especially in the first turn.
A lot can be gained at the race start, and a lot can be lost.
That's right. Another lock up there. That's that Praga, that right front keeps on locking up there, which is kind of odd, locking up that late, taking a left turn.
Yep.
I wonder if he has a hung caliper or something like that.
Hey, well, once you flat spot, usually
you catch it.
Yeah.
Keeps going back to it.
And another thing that you don't think about with the Pragas as much, there's a
nice little pass there through the carousel.
Greg Folger trying to take the outside.
And he's going to try and take it back on the inside here, right over the rumble strip. Is he going to get it?
Ooh.
There, wheel to wheel going through that. And
elbows out driving.
Yeah, that's exactly what that was. Sorry, sir, you're not getting by.
What is the body made out of in these?
On the Radicals, it's like a composite fiberglass. Okay. So, it's not, full carbon fiber, nothing like that. So if you need a replacement, you're not, thankfully, trying to think about a full carbon fiber body.
Right.
But you're not going to be leaning on anybody too much.
No. Evan's pushing real wide in the carousel. He's pushing really hard, and this is the SR3, the grip that Greg has.
Look, he's trying to close the door on him there. Nope, he's going to get by him.
Now, if Greg has this, he should be able to just smooth sail into turn 1. Don't try and
but look at this
overshoot
late braking in turn 1. Just relax. Is he going to get almost an over-under.
Almost. He tried.
He tried. If he had just left it a little bit longer, he might have been able to pull that off.
So something in the school, when we practice those passing exercises, I tell students, I'm like, if you're trying to be defensive and not allow the over-under, you essentially, you want to overslow the apex.
Right.
Because you don't want to allow them. You're going to have to kill their speed, and that's exactly what Greg did. So really good job by Greg Folger not allowing the over-under, and, now Evan just needs to really settle in, get into a rhythm, because, not far behind. Pete Folger's right there.
That's exactly right. We got a pass here going through turn 6. That was a nice, clean pass.
It's so fun watching the SR1s because these cars are sliding around, they're moving around, but Yeah, they're always so fun to drive.
What's the difference in downforce between SR1 and SR3?
I don't have exact numbers of what it is, but
Significant?
Yeah, the SR3 is definitely going to have quite a bit more downforce. This track really is mostly mechanical grip.
Really?
You're going to feel the downforce specifically in the back carousel through turn 16, what we're looking at right now, onto the straightaway. That's where the most downforce is going to be made.
Right.
But, turns 2 through 6 is mostly all mechanical grip.
Yeah, it's just not fast enough.
Right.
It's ironic. We have, again, back to karting, we have a set of aerodynamics. One of them we call the hot dog bun, because it looks like a hot dog bun. And then Burrell or KG came out with called the 508, and the 508 works at a much lower speed, whereas the hot dog bun really is good for shifter karts, for tag karts, but it's no good for LO206. And what we're looking for LO206 is we're looking for getting air around the driver or over the driver, rather than the driver being that sail out there. If you want to slow a LO206, sit up.
Yeah, you need to decrease drag as much as possible.
And the same goes here. So again, they're relying on mechanical grip until they come out of that 16 complex,
Right.
so they're really catching some speed there, and the air gets up underneath those those valances, and then all of a sudden you've got. It's a lot of extra weight. It's not insignificant, correct?
No, it's not. And the SR1 is actually, it's because it has less aero, it's more slippery on this track. Coming out of corners, the SR1 can actually sometimes be just a smidge quicker, unless you have the 1500cc motor
Right.
in the SR3. Then that's just, no contest.
Right.
Beautiful shot of the elevation
Oh,
here, going up to turn 4. Lovely shot.
The drone is just fantastic. The work he's done.
So Peter's made some good ground. He started last in this race, and he's slowly been just picking off cars and making progress. He's still got a little ways to go. He's not going to catch. I don't think he's going to catch Jack, but
he's gone from last to fourth overall.
Yep. He's catching up to David Mason now, so we'll see how hard David makes his life, trying to get by. This is a tough track to pass on.
It sure is.
So who does the progress support?
That would be Shane Anderson. They kind of handle all of that, and if there's something that you want and you want information about that, he's kind of the one to go to here on site at AMP. And then if you're interested in a radical or anything of that sort, then you would go to the Primal. Yep.
Right.
Yep. Different race cars at different budgets.
Absolutely. We had the same exact thing in karting, from LO206 to shifter. And also, physiologically, they're significantly different. And I'm sure it is here. The higher end, higher grip, higher downforce cars require a lot more physical fitness. And that's why we have a fitness center here at AMP. And here we go. We have David Mason diving into turn 6, right over the rumble strip. And let's see if Peter can catch up to him and give him a pass. But again, it's going to be some work. They are running pretty evenly here. But now, here comes Peter up through the turn 7 and 8 complex. Is he going to be able to catch him and make a pass? So let's take a look at this coming through the turn 14, 15, and 16 complex. And David just starts to pull away. That's pretty amazing that David's pulling away. But now here comes the Praga. And the Praga's definitely got some power advantage here.
It should be the fastest
See,
car.
look at this. Look at he makes up all these positions right here, right on top of him now. He's not going to make a pass there, but he's right back on top of him at this point. So it's a little weird announcing two so radically different cars, pardon the pun, and they're racing together. And so there was always a race. Doesn't matter what the class is, there's always a race.
This is shaping up to be a good one.
It is. Now, of course, looks like Jack Rambo is significantly ahead of the rest of the field. Chris Hune in second place overall, first place in the SR3 class.
Oh, what happened there?
Oh, we've got somebody off. That's Pete. Pete Basinski looks like he's looped it there in turn 6.
He wants to come back from the back again.
Yes.
Maybe he's getting bored.
Yeah. Trying to make his life difficult. No, I don't think. No, that's just turn 6. We've been talking about it all day.
Yep, so that's 3 spins so far in turn 6. That is the killer here, just like turn 2 on the kart track. Turn 6 is definitely a, I won't call it treacherous, but it's a difficult turn to master. When you do, you know you have it right. When you don't, it rears its ugly head and spins you around.
Something with William Layton. He's coming in the pits. I'm not sure what's going on with him. The guys are going to take a look and see what's going on.
Oh, that's unfortunate with only 3 minutes to go.
So it looks like Peter, he's only lost 1 position overall, even though he's not racing up there with David Mason anymore.
That was a pretty good loop, though. It took him a bit to get back on.
That was.
Now looking at the SR1 class, I'm real happy. It looks like Evan Lowry is still holding the top spot in SR1 class. Pete is running identical times. I mean, look at those times.
Yeah.
124.894 and a 124.893. So
basically 80.
They're right there.
Yeah, 10 thousandths of a second difference.
And then we have Nolan DeVersa right now. He's in P3, and then William Robinson behind. So, and this is Nolan's first race. Nolan has just recently gone through our schools, and really, really bright young kid who's looking to get into motorsports and race. And this is his first competitive wheel-to-wheel race in
How
these
old
radicals.
Is he?
Well, you asked me that question. I think that's a great question. I have to ask him.
Is he really young? Is he?
He's young. He's probably 18,
okay,
20, something
18,
like that.
20. Look at this. Who is that next to? Oh, okay.
That is Jack.
Rambo.
That's Jack lapping.
Yeah, he's starting to lap some traffic here. Jack Rambo. And there's Chris Hune. Okay.
That's closer than I thought.
Oh, almost into him.
Shoot.
Wow, that was close.
Passing through turn 10 is always a little sketchy.
It can be
tight.
treacherous there.
It's a tight corner.
Yeah.
So.
And you got, that's the thing. When you turn in, you don't always have the line. You got to just get that little head check. That's all you need. He was right beside him, though.
Well, the Prague is a closed cockpit car versus the open cockpit.
Yep. Yeah, so Jack, obviously, he was inching in there. He wanted to make sure that Will Robinson knew he was there, but at the same time, I don't know if Will maybe thought he was going to do it or not.
Yeah.
It's just you want to make yourself known. You want to be very predictable. That's always important.
Yep. And in karting, we make ourselves known sometimes by yelling at people.
White flag is
white
out.
flag is out.
Come on. These races go by too quick.
They do.
Too much fun.
Absolutely.
Let's make them 40 minutes.
Yeah, we should start doing some endurance races.
Yeah, I think the guys in the garages and the guys that sell parts would be really happy about longer races.
I think the spec sheet said we could do about 60 minutes on a tank of fuel.
This track is very very tough physically and mentally.
It is.
It's you don't have a lot of breaks. You don't have a lot of time. You're always working your vision, coming over all these blind crests. It's a very, very challenging track. You don't have a long straightaway just to relax.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the unique things about the kart track here. You have some time to relax. So when we go to smaller venues like Trackhouse or Newcastle, I mean, they're very physical. You're always in the turns, and you have very little time to relax and think. So it really steps up the game. And we got a pass going on through here the turn 14 complex.
Ooh.
Looks like Chris Hune lapping some of the SR1s.
He's lapping some traffic there. Let's see.
And Jack Rambo.
Yep. Oh, almost ran him off. Wow. He backed out of it. That was a good job. And the checkers are out. Jack Rambo first place. Congratulations to Jack Rambo. Chris Hune second place. Almost got taken out there in turn 16. David Mason third place overall, second in his class. and I've lost the feed.
Yep, so have I.
Greg Folger is third place there in SR3, just crossed the line. Peter Pazinski, it looks like he's second in Praga R1. Now at first place in SR1.
They're coming.
Here coming.
Evan Lowry.
Evan Lowry.
I'm real happy for Evan.
Yeah, that's great. Congratulations to him.
He had a really good start. He took advantage of that.
He did.
And then he just kind of settled in. And awesome. There's some people. Give a wave,
Give a
everybody.
wave, folks. You're live on Facebook Live, YouTube, at the Atlanta Motorsports Park channel.
Well, once again, enjoyed being here.
You
Al,
too, man. Thank you so much for
awesome.
coming. You give a great commentary about this downforce class, which is really, really challenging. So thanks a lot for being here.
Yeah, I'm going to go get me some barbecue.
Oh, yeah, that barbecue is great.
Out the Smokehouse Barbecue.
Smokehouse Barbecue, and their spicy barbecue sauce is awesome. Take it easy.
And while we wait, we're going to see if we can try and get a word with our winners here.
So while we wait for our next series to come, the E30 and the Spec Miata, we're going to start getting them gridded up. They're starting to come from behind the fence. There's see Jeremy Buckingham right there pulling up. We're going to go trackside with Will Rigdon. He's going to do some driver interviews. Really interesting race. Had some really close calls there as we kind of watched people started getting lapped. But everybody seemed to keep it clean. We had an exciting start, that's for sure. Some lockups, and unfortunately, one of our primary Praga drivers had to retire his car. I'm not sure because of any damage because of that lockup, but there's Jeremy Buckingham there in his car. Now, something about Jeremy. Jeremy owns the largest collection of seatbelts in the world. And he does some really interesting work with insurance companies and auto manufacturers. He has had a lot of influence on the auto industry as far as safety is concerned. The reason why we don't have hard linkages on windows and door handles is because of him. And he develops these really cool rigs where he shows a manufacturer how at a certain type of impact, on the Ford F-150 he developed this for, certain kind of impact on the old 2003, the door would open and a driver would get ejected, right? And that was a design flaw for the manufacturer. So they modified the design to a cable design that when the door gets crushed, the doesn't actuate the door handle. So really, really neat stuff that he does. All right, we're going to go a little bit radio silent while we get ready for our next group. So stay tuned, and we will be back.
All right, we're here with Will Rigdon in Victory Lane.
Yeah, I'm down here with Nolan Diversa. First time actually out here on track today for a race. Nolan, take me through that race out there. You did a school, right, this week or last week, and then you out here for your first race day?
Yeah, I did the 3-day class in September, and then I came back out here 2 weeks ago, did the 2-day advanced class, and this is my first race here in October.
Now, who we got here with us? Is this your dad?
Yeah.
Hey, hello, Greg here. Yeah, it's just fun to come out and see him race today, first time. It's exciting, and I'm proud of him to see he did well.
You got anything for anybody else wanting to get their kids into racing?
Just let them get into it, and let them go, and let them have fun, and watch them, and help them get there.
You been enjoying your time out here, Nolan?
Oh, for sure. Second race got a little bit more competitive, so that was fun.
You gonna come back out next month? We got one more on the season.
Yeah, we'll see. If I can get the money together, then I'll be out here for sure.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate having you guys out here. Good luck. Congratulations on the finish today. And we're going to see if we can find some more people to interview.
And here we go with our Spec Miata Spec E30 class, getting their tires warmed up on the outlap behind Rachel in the Killboy Porsche.
We got Tyler Klein leading on pole, followed by Blakely Fabiani and Keith Williamson.
Now that's going to be the battle to watch, is Blakely versus Keith. That's going to be really interesting.
Klein just took off on that last one, so let's I wonder what he's got under the hood of that thing.
Well, if he's anything like, what's his name? NASCAR, who'd get out and he would have a nice nitrous bottle in his suit.
Well, you laugh about that. I ran for a team who shall be
remain anonymous.
Anonymous, and they went national. I stayed regional. And the first thing they said, "Hey, we need your transmission and rear end." And I'm like, "Why? We all have the same transmission and rear end." It's like, "No, we don't."
Guys, I got Greg and Pete here. I want to do a quick interview during this warm-up lap.
All right.
And we're going to go to Will Rigdon for our interviews here.
Hey, I've got Greg and Pete Folger. Real quick, which one of you's Greg? Which one of you's Pete?
Pete, and I'm Greg.
I was excited. We've been watching you all season. Great to put a face with the name. And, what's it like racing alongside father-son duo? And we'll start with that.
Yeah, it's super great. This is a great time to get there, come out with him. But it's also, you can't help but get worried for him. No matter how old he is, you still worry when he's out there and you see him going sideways. So, great stuff, though.
Now, if he gets alongside you, do you take it easy?
Not a chance.
No way.
Not a chance.
Now,
I will have to say today is maybe the first time at all driving he's seen my rear bumper for a little bit. It wasn't long enough, but he did have to look at it for a little bit.
do you ever just let the old man get one?
I can't say that I do. Like I said, I'm going to reiterate that it couldn't be more awesome to be out here with your dad. But the worry to me turns into competitiveness. That he was in front of me for about 2 turns, and I wasn't gonna leave a lot. That I'm not so sure I went 2 tires in the grass when I got around him today. But ton of fun. Unfortunately, new set of tires that had a pretty big lockup going into turn 1, so I was in a gravel shaker the rest of the race. But ultimately, what a beautiful day to be out here and a great day for racing.
Here we go. Green, green,
Well,
green.
that's awesome. They always say racing's a family sport, and we love covering it. And it sounds like those Miatas are underway, so we'll send it back to the booth.
Thank you, Will. Thanks, Will.
Thanks, Will.
It says Fabiani's in the lead, but I don't think so.
No, I think actually it's Tyler Klein.
Yep.
Is in the lead. Blakely is second, and it's going to be the Blakely-Keith Williamson show, but they really got bunched together there in the beginning as I developed a pretty good cough there.
Yep. I got one too.
Yeah, but let's see what happens here. You see Keith has already started his late breaking into 6. He's going to be really in the mirrors there of Blakely, that's for sure.
Bill Miller had a strong run on the last one and then just faded at the end.
And I don't even see our E30s.
No.
It's almost like they didn't start. No, I just heard them go by. So I heard those little BMW engines. They're very distinctive.
Maybe they have a split start.
They have a split start, so it looks like they probably held them back a little bit longer because they got right in the mix in the last race. And as you can see right here, it's it might be Blakely in first place. Let's take a look as they come across the line. Normally it would be Tyler Klein.
Klein just ran away with the first race.
He sure did. So let's see what the timing and scoring comes back with.
Yeah, I hope they ran Tyler across the tech line.
So that's Tyler Klein in first, Blakely in second, and Keith Williamson third place. Bill Miller fourth place.
Fabiani's lap time's not that far off.
And one thing, I don't know if you guys noticed, they actually ran a split start with the SE30s.
Yeah, and so we're waiting for Jeremy Buckingham and Greg.
That added to the excitement. They should have left him in there.
I know, that's
they
why I was
just came
surprised
across
they-
the stripe.
Yeah, because Greg was in there tearing it up with all the Miatas. I wonder if that was, the Miata guys saying, hey, get him out of here.
Yeah, well, you never know, but they're pretty close together.
They will be soon. I can see him coming up from the back.
Yeah, they sure are.
Well, if he's running a 139 versus some 140s, yeah, he should be able to catch that mid-pack pretty soon.
I'm surprised how close Fabiani's staying with Tyler Klein.
Well, I don't know. Tyler Klein might be pedaling it a little bit. Who knows? But the one who's going to be running hard is going to be Williamson, and he's got a little bit of a gap between the front two, but that's Bill Miller behind him by about the same amount. So let's see what happens over the next 18 minutes.
Like Williamson seems to keep his car clean, and then in the last couple of laps he comes alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably not wanting to burn through those consumables right now in these opening laps. Because that looks about 10 car lengths between him and second place right now.
Right.
I'm just shocked that Fabiani's staying with Tyler Klein. Looks like he may be going for a pass.
Might have been going for a pass there. Oh, he's right on top of him. Getting all in his mirrors, hoping to make a mistake there.
Great shot from FPV pilot Daryl Cannon, Killboy.com.
Does a great job.
Chasing those cars on track, really helping you get a bird's eye perspective, and you're sitting in the back seat with those guys. And right now, Tyler Klein and Blakely Fabiani are running 1-2 as they make their way through turn 5, coming down the downhill stretch there into that hard braking zone, turn 6. You know, turn 6 is a very deceptive turn. It
Sure
is
is.
uphill, and it is beyond 90 degrees, so it is a very late apex turn. You know, if you're trying to follow the line on track.
Look at Fabiani's run he's got going on right now on Tyler.
Blakely Fabiani actually
Ooh,
has
look at that.
fast
Look
lap
at-
of the race so far, and he's passed him.
But maybe an over-under going
Might be
on.
an over and under going on. They're going to push hard.
All I know, if I was Blakely, I'd want something between me and Williamson.
Well, guess what? Those guys start battling. Here comes Williamson. Now it's going to be a 3-car. He's picked up the draft.
This is where
Williamson's
Williamson
gonna,
shines.
That's right. So he's going to stay with these guys most likely. But Williamson almost
Whoa,
runs off.
looks
Wow.
like he put 2 off. He is losing pace right now. He had to get out the throttle.
He sure did. So that's momentum racing here. That's the way it works.
And that's going to be real costly for Keith Williamson. He's going to now have to start putting the pedal in it just to make that difference back.
Look at the
Absolutely.
time he's making up already.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the car on this part of the course.
Oh, look
no.
at that.
Wow, that was Blakely almost off. Going to try for an outside pass. A little bit of a lockup there.
That actually looked like Tyler
Oh, that was
Klein.
Tyler Klein
That
trying
was
to make
Klein,
the
sorry.
He ran out of runoff.
He sure did. But Tyler
look at
Klein's
that.
next to him. They're going side by side through turn 2.
And
Let's
Williamson
see
is
who's
loving
game of
this.
chicken. It's going to be a game of chicken going
Fabiani's-
into the carousel.
Ooh. If you can hang
And
that.
there goes Tyler Klein. He has gotten ahead of Fabiani
For now.
for now. And here comes Fabiani on the inside. They're going down on the inside through turn 6. Side by side, they just back out of it a little bit. Wow, that was some close racing right there. That's where this gets really exciting here in the MX-5s. And, oh, there's a challenge on the inside. It's Fabiani.
Oh, but he just didn't quite have the momentum.
No.
That turn 6.
He needs to bump him a little bit and stay there and get some space on Williamson.
Yeah, and all this, here comes Keith Williamson with all that battling. Keith Williamson has made up over half of that distance that he lost just in the prior lap.
And the exit of turn 6 is very important. We made a rule change this season that the drivers could start using all of that
All
runoff.
of that runoff, yeah.
It used to just be 2 off, and you had to have 2 tires on track, but now you can use the full width of the racing surface.
Yeah, and if you mess that up, you're going off into the grass. You have to back out of it. There's a big hole there.
Yes, there's a huge, there's a huge divot in the ground you do not want to hit.
Never is going to be fixed.
Yeah, you'll be getting a 4-tire alignment after that.
That's exactly right. But you see right here, look at Williamson. Look at Williamson just absolutely climbing back up on these guys.
And Klein's back in the lead. With us, Fabiani not that far behind.
Yeah, so if these guys play their cards right, quite frankly, they're going to work together and wait till the last 2 laps to try and start racing. If they keep on, going after each other like this, they're going to slow each other down, and then it's going to give Williamson an opportunity to catch up and maybe to pass. There's one thing Williamson's good at is driving defensively, and if he gets out in front of one of these guys, he's going to stick his elbows out, and they are not going to be able to get by him.
I think Fabiani gave him a little lesson on that in the last race.
Sure did.
So I think payback might be in order.
Yep.
We'll have to watch out because it might be Keith Williamson throwing the haymaker here if they don't pay attention.
That's exactly right. And so, their best option right now is just to try and work together a little bit in the draft.
Yeah, best thing they can do is just try and put distance between them and Keith because they've got drafting help.
That's exactly right.
Look at the difference from the first race where Klein just took off and we didn't see him.
Yeah.
He was almost a half a lap ahead.
Well, I think he left his restrictor plate on the roof of his car. 'Cause I saw a 127. Ain't no way that's legal. But so he must have gone back in there and gotten this car to spec because he is running a bit slower lap times than he was race number 1.
Yes.
Oh, wait, what do you mean this is we're running tech today?
Tech? What tech? That's called denial.
But look at that gap. I don't know if Keith might be having some issues because he's falling back a little bit right now.
that 2 off really cost him. Now we have a challenge for the inside right now. Slams the door. Tyler just slams the door on him. That's a risky maneuver, but when you know you got it, you know you got it.
And right now that gap at the line is 0.2 seconds, although definitely closer when you look at it, as these guys are practically bumper to bumper chasing each other through the carousel right now.
I think Fabiani needs to rent more often.
He's actually run this car a couple times this season. That dust up between Fabiani and Williamson happened, I believe it was either week 3 or week 4, and his normal car it's just not been running.
Oh, he almost goes around. Whoa, through 6, and he manages to save it, but that's going to give Keith Williamson the opportunity to come right back up on top of him if he plays his cards right. But where's Williamson? Williamson's way back now. That was a big mistake, and Williamson is he's back there, and he's just not closing the gap. Wow, I think Williamson might have backed out of it, expecting that he might have gone around so he wouldn't come around and hit him.
Ooh, that's not what you want to see. And definitely not what Matt White wants to see watching from home right now.
No, that's his car.
Blake's running. Well, I said it's the rental car. It's actually his boss's car.
Well,
so,
you break it, you buy it. That's the.
So those are the guys over at Ampere EV, located Dawsonville, Georgia, making those EV conversion kits. So definitely check them out.
I saw a wonderful Ford GT conversion that they were using their equipment to a couple days ago.
And if you're ever at SEMA, definitely go check them out. They've been there the last 2 years. I'm pretty sure they're coming back this year.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get out to SEMA this year.
And they're bringing the Ford GT.
And right now, we are 12 minutes into this 20-minute contest. Your leaders heading through the S's, turns 2 and 3 into the carousel. That big double apex modeled after the carousel at Nürburgring. Such a fun turn. Anybody's ever been out on this track, it is hard to master, and it is even harder to master at speed.
It's hard in karting. People really struggle with it in karting, and it's really amazing. When you get it right, you get it right. When you get it wrong, boy, you know. Oh, he almost went sideways again. He's hanging on to it. He's driving a little bit too hard into the corner, and he's hanging on to it too long.
I think those tires are getting a bit greasy right now. And, you talk about karting. We actually just announced a big kart race we're having up here.
In December. That's going to be a fun one.
Weekend of December, 1st through the 3rd. We're having that big 3-day weekend. Karts on main track coming back again this year.
Will Bite Racing will definitely be there. We're going to have the whole team.
That was wild last year, seeing those go-karts. The LOs drafting at 70-plus miles an hour.
Yeah, that was me getting – I jumped out in front and got like a 20-car lead on Chris Orencia and his cousin, Clabe, and they just got their drafting plan together, and I was getting bored. And so I turned around, and I was like, well, maybe where are these guys? I might just let them by me so we can play. And I turn around, and they are right behind me, and I'm like, they got their drafting plan. And they went by me going through the 16 complex like I was standing still, and then I jumped right back in behind them. What was funny is I almost touched Clabe as I came in behind him. My RPMs flew up. And then all of a sudden, I'm on the inside of both of them going into turn 1, and they're like, where were you? They thought they had passed me clean and left me in the dust, but that's what happens when you join the draft. Now, if you take a look here with Blakely, as he goes over that rumble strip, how that car gets really unsettled when that happens. And, he's making up a little bit of time here, but these two are really well matched in this race. And so it's going to be a really, really big challenge to come back and make a challenge there on Tyler. And see, now he's being very conservative there. As you notice, he doesn't pinch it off quite as much.
I almost wonder if he's still in that habit of not going 4 off, because he's trying to turn it in a little hard when he still has room for the car to float out.
So you've got to unwind the car. So
I do this all the time. I say
know.
cars back at kart track and cars back up here at main track.
Well, he's sliding through there a little bit.
He is.
I think he's heated up his rear tires, and he needs to cool them down a little bit.
Well, he's trying to push it to catch up right now. He knows the clock is on, and we're about 5 minutes to go in this contest.
That's right. And, I just don't think Keith's going to be able to make it up here. He's got a podium here. It's clear he's got a podium. So, Keith might just be out for a Sunday drive.
Yeah, there's no point. And the thing with Keith is he also races in NASA, so he could be saving the car, too, for other races.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he usually races it in between our races, and sometimes he gets on the receiving end of contact at other races, and so he's a little beat up coming into here. Sometimes he gets beat up here, and, he's limping into his next race. And,
right.
And so there's always that factor at play.
Too bad he doesn't have 2 of them.
Nope, unlike Blakely, who's got the backup car.
Right. See that? See when he runs over that? What I got to tell you is that he is hitting his marks 100% every single time. Whether it's the right thing to do or not the right thing to do, he's still hitting his marks, which means consistency, and that's really important in this momentum racing is consistency.
It really looks like it's unsettling the back of the car.
Big time.
And a little fact about Blakely Fabiani that we haven't really been highlighting much this season is while he is racing with us in the sprint races, he also goes and does the autocross.
Yeah.
And so he has taken, I believe, 3 or 4 wins this year also in the autocross. So he is definitely a smart driver, knows what he is doing behind the wheel. And so if anybody could catch up to Tyler Klein right now, it would definitely be Blakely.
Yes, definitely. But you see, they're really keeping it consistent as far as the gap between them. There's no big changes happening lap over lap over lap. And the same thing with Keith. Keith is actually falling back just a little bit here. But
why waste a car at
exactly.
this point?
So at this point, it's a Sunday drive, practice day for him. Just keep it consistent, keep on going.
And I wonder if we can check in on our E30 drivers. We haven't seen much of
Yeah,
them.
we haven't seen them at all. So let's see if we can find. Actually, I see him just coming up. Well, no, that's not them.
I don't know if we can passive-aggressively tell the producer who to follow.
I've heard them. I've actually heard them come by in the audio. You know, you can tell that difference between that 6-cylinder engine and these 4. Oh, somebody off right there. It's Blakely just went off a little bit out of turn 1. That's going to cost him.
Ooh, and not what you want to see this late in the race. That gap last time, only a 1.17 second, but I have a feeling that's going to be wider next time by.
1.17 seconds is forever in Miata. That's for sure. You know, these guys, we're used to these guys finishing hundredths of a second apart. In karting, we usually finish thousandths of a second apart in two. We had 2,000ths of a second.
Yeah, we had our
closest ever
of all time.
He bumped me off. I wasn't happy about that. I had the closest at 17 thousandths, ended up being 2,000ths.
This is an orange Miata. Let's see if we can find there
are the E30s, and Jeremy Buckingham is in front.
And I was looking at the gap right now. There's only less than 2 seconds between these guys. So a little bit of a race going on right now
there is.
from the Spec E30s. I know Jeremy's going to be excited to get a podium finish here if he can hang on to this.
Well, no matter what, it's a podium finish, but he's going to get a first. That's going to be great. I'm hoping that he can hang on here. He's got quite the lead. I mean, again, with these cars, 2 seconds is a lot of time to make up over these laps.
Well, I'm curious if something happened to Greg because he was so dominant during that first race.
Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah, he seemed to halfway through the race he slowed. Well, I don't know if he slowed down on purpose, but he seemed.
Well,
to,
I've got to tell you, if they do it this way, they're going to get this exact same amount of points, right? So it's going to be a dead heat. So what do we do there? Do we flip a coin?
That is a question for race director.
Yeah, that's a really interesting one.
Which would have been me earlier in the season, but now I'm back in the booth.
Well, let me tell you. It's really interesting. It's either that or racing is a psychological game. And you do see a lot of folks, and one of our drivers in karting, Nick Laferdo, is great at this. He'll sandbag, totally sandbag. Everyone thinks they can keep up with him, and he will rocket past people in the pre-final and the final. It's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I always get excited when a fast driver, I'm not saying I'm excited for him to get in trouble, but when they have a reason that they have to start in the back, it's always fun to watch when people go rocketing through the field.
Yep.
And there goes the battle between Jeremy Buckingham and Greg Trayson right now through turn 1.
Yeah, they're doing a little bit of trail braking there. You can see the brake lights went off a little bit later than they normally do. You see, well after they turned in is when the brake lights go off. So it's always interesting to watch because he's pulling out of the stops at this point because we've got just a few minutes left.
And we are on the white flag.
White flag. Well, a few minutes. We got just less than a minute.
Yeah, I see the checker flags in the starter's hand right now. So Tyler Klein should be making his way around shortly here to take the checkered flag. And there goes Tyler.
His lap time's considerably slower than the last time.
Yeah, he's weaving to a finish. And so what has happened to Blakely?
I don't see him.
And Williamson. So there's Williamson coming across the line in second place.
Wow.
What happened to Blakely? He might have had a mechanical. Bill Miller in third place. Bill Miller, congratulations. He gets a podium there. Blakely
might have got a Williamson.
Well, yeah, I think I actually think Blakely is broken somewhere because there is nobody to be found here.
Wow. Well, it came in.
And we're sitting here at the finish line. And there goes Steve Triner.
Yep.
Blakely. Yep, I think he's broken.
Must have. At least it's the boss's car.
And Jeremy Buckingham just crossed the line. And Greg, so Jeremy takes first place. Congratulations to Jeremy in the Spec E30. Interested to see what happened to Blakely there. Now Mike is going to be doing our pit lane interviews in just a minute here as these guys come across the scales and get weighed, make sure they're completely legal. You got a shot of our autocross track, and that's our ice hill. The ice hill's been here since inception.
I'm headed there right now.
There you go.
It's been great working with you.
Pleasure, absolutely. You too.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being in the booth. Yep, as we get ready for our interviews here, you can see our autocross course now. There's a number of things that the ice hill's been recently redone, and it's just as challenging. It's just a different type of surface. Don't know a whole bunch about it, but we get all sorts of cars just like this one out on the track. Look at the articulation and suspension on this thing. That's a Can-Am, and he really works his way through here quite easily. It's a pretty amazing course there. Now this is also a place where several things happen. We teach our Drive to Thrive school, which we used to call it our teen driving school, but it is now a nonprofit called Drive to Thrive. The Alpharetta City Police have practiced here. They're pit maneuvers and defensive driving and offensive driving and all sorts of training there, as well as the Bobby Orr School. That's a stunt driving school, and I'm not sure if they're still up here. I believe that they are, but it's really interesting to watch a lot of these schools and organizations do their thing here at Atlanta Motorsports Park, which is one of the most versatile facilities in the country to do things like this. And that Can-Am really got through there quickly. And it looks like all of our Miatas have crossed the scales at this point. Oh no, we just got word that Blakely Fabiani hit the tire wall and did not finish the race. So we're going to be going out to get him. Hopefully he is okay. And the Miatas can take quite a hit, so no. Well, what a day here at Atlanta Motorsports Park, that's for sure. This is a highly modified Mini here, getting ready to go out. Who, Blakely? Okay. All right, correction. Not sure what happened to Blakely at this point. Yeah, Tyler won, and then all of a sudden Williamson went across, and Blakely was nowhere to be found. Oh, see, someone messing with the drone. Look at that. He says, nope, that the drone. No, yeah, that's Blakely right there. He's in the sand pit. And it looks like EV is taking a look at him. They got the trucks out there to come and recover him out of the sand pit. Looks like a hard hit into that wall there. But the car doesn't look to be too badly damaged. So hopefully he is okay. It looks like he might be walking away. Well, again, the track can be incredibly unforgiving at times, and this is one of those times. So we're basically done with our racing for today. We've got podiums coming up, but as far as our broadcast booth is concerned, all of us, Al Edwards, Will Rigdon, Peter, Mike, everybody, thank you so much for having us out here. Thank you so much for all of our spectators for being out here, and congratulations to all of our drivers on the podium and all of our drivers that showed up here to race. We're really great that you keep this series going. See you next time.